Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Monday Night Raw on March 25th, 2013. And, you know, for the most part, I felt like this week's Raw was, in some ways, kind of a letdown, just in the sheer aspects of, it felt like a lot of the same towards the actual storylines going into WrestleMania. No real extra build. I mean, there was some extra build in certain areas, and actually fairly entertaining segments of the show. For the most part, segments that I felt were very entertaining was the CM Punk promo right at the beginning to go along with The Undertaker. Just mainly because in the terms of storytelling, it just... CM Punk is making it feel like it's more of a personal type match versus just another guy going after the Undertaker's streak at this point. So in that sense, I felt like that it comes off as very entertaining, very well told story. You know, Punk going out there during the promo saying, you know, he took the urn not because he wanted to disrespect Paul Bearer, but because he wanted to take something that meant a great deal to the Undertaker, and everything on that sense. It came off really well, and of course, you know, just showing how great of a heel CM Punk really is in that sense. And it also, you got that personal feeling because the Undertaker, the lights go out, the gongs go off, and he comes out and he attacks CM Punk. So you got that more personal vibe versus just another guy going after the streak at this point. So that came off as really good in my mind. Another area that came off really good was the Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger segment again. Of course, Alberto Del Rio doing a really fun match with Antonio Cesaro, and I'm going to re-emphasize this again. I wish they would have something for Antonio Cesaro for the main WrestleMania show, because I feel like he's actually done really good. He deserves a spot there, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But the segment that I'm referring to is pretty much the end of the match where, you know, Jack Swagger comes out and attacks Ricardo Rodriguez, who came back to Raw after they did the snapping of his ankle or breaking of his ankle segment last week. And of course, you know, Jack Swagger's attacking Ricardo Rodriguez, and of course you eventually get Alberto Del Rio jumping Jack Swagger, and this just got to show a more vicious side of Alberto Del Rio in this sense, because he went after Jack Swagger, basically chasing him away, going through the crowd, making sure that like all the moves he would end up doing were very high impact, very, you know, intense type maneuvers going into that sense. And then afterwards, you have, because he loses by count, you have Antonio Cesaro, you know, celebrating that he won by count out, and you get, and then of course Alberto Del Rio goes after Antonio Cesaro. So it showed a more intensity towards Alberto Del Rio in that sense. And it came off really good in my mind. Those were just two areas that I felt were really good. I'll get into another area that I felt was really good a little bit later on. I'm going to go off and, you know, and go on where I felt was a little bit more maybe disappointing, or not necessarily bad, just it felt a lot of the same. I'm going to basically start off on the Ryback and Mark Henry feud. They're back to one-upping each other again. You have Mark Henry in the beginning of the show. He went ahead and had a 1-on-2 handicap match. So to one-up it, Ryback has to do a 1-on-3 handicap match, and that's you know, cool and all. But you have, and of course with the 1-on-3 area, the Ryback's shell shock always looks more impressive when he picks up two guys and does it to two different guys at the same time. But, you know, they've been doing the one-upsmanship for a fair amount of time now. They went a little bit of a different direction over the last couple weeks. Now they're back to doing this. Now, in this sense, if they're going to continually one-upping each other, it would be hilarious maybe on SmackDown or Raw, like Mark Henry now to one-up Ryback. He has to do a 1-on-4 handicap match, and then after that, you know, he'll one-up that by a 1-on-5 or something like that. That would be kind of fun and entertaining, or even semi-hilarious in that sense. But it feels like a lot more of the same in there. And the same goes for the Shield and Sheamus Randy Orton and now Big Show feud going on. It just felt a lot more the same. I mean, all the members of the Shield are extremely good. And of course they had their match, and they had their match this week, and of course they ended up winning the 6-man tag. But also they attacked Randy Orton and Sheamus backstage. Of course they got saved by Big Show, which eventually led into, like, you know, the three, and it was basically to go off and show that, you know, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show are now somewhat of a collective unit. They know they have to work together type deal. There was no real arguing between them this week in any kind of sense. And it kind of makes me lead to believe that maybe they'll have something at WrestleMania where Big Show turns, or maybe even Sheamus turns, because there's been some talk of Sheamus turning heel for a while too at this point. So we'll see if they go anywhere in that direction, or they keep them a cohesive unit throughout the WrestleMania match. So we'll see where they actually go with that sense. But it felt a lot more of the same. You know, you had the Shield attack, and then you had them attack the Shield afterwards type deal. So it didn't come off all that great in my mind. Another area that was somewhat disappointing was really just the lack of interaction between Kane and Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston. It just, you have Dolph Ziggler have his match with Chris Jericho, which once again was actually a very fun match to watch, and that's basically just based on, you know, how Chris Jericho is in the ring and Dolph Ziggler is in the ring. But you didn't have much of an interaction to try to build a match between, or build more to the match between Daniel Bryan and Kane and Big E Langston and Dolph Ziggler for the tag titles. They kind of just stared at each other after Kane and Daniel Bryan's tag team match. So nothing much there in that sense. Also, they seem to have started really started a feud, maybe potentially for the Divas title, with AJ and Caitlyn, which in this sense, I know they've been focusing AJ Lee towards, you know, being around Dolph Ziggler and all that sense. But why weren't they trying to build this up a little bit more? Because honestly, with the two of them, you know, AJ's usually typically an over diva, and, you know, Caitlyn, they're trying to get over. She has the Divas title, but hasn't really done much since getting it. Why weren't they trying to build some kind of feud with them a little bit sooner on, instead of waiting so late until WrestleMania? Because there's a potential chance that they might make that a WrestleMania match. So why weren't they trying to build something into going into WrestleMania a little bit more, instead of waiting, you know, 2 weeks beforehand? Also, the Triple H promo, you know, I've liked the aspect that Triple H has been keeping it short and to the point recently with most of his promos about Brock Lesnar. You know, Brock Lesnar's not always at the show, much like Rock. But, you know, with Rock, he has prior engagements with Brock Lesnar. They're just afraid to not use up all the dates that they can use them for right away. So I do like the fact that they keep the promo very short and to the point, because, you know, you weren't going to get any interaction between the two of them this week. Maybe they'll have something next week at that. But the aspect of, you know, the stare down with him and Wade Barrett made no sense, unless if they're going to try something down the line. But I don't think they're going to actually try anything down the line between the two. So it made no sense for him to, you know, just low blow you know, Wade Barrett, and then have that stare down and then give the low blow to him. It just made no sense whatsoever. Now, at least afterwards, you had Miz come out there, and they did the match with him and Wade Barrett. So it was somebody. It gave some meaning towards, you know, the fact that the Miz is feuding with Wade Barrett, and him getting a win over Wade Barrett with the figure 4. Also, fairly fun and entertaining spots where, you know, he was going through the different variations of the atomic drop right at the beginning of the match, because of what happened before the match actually started. So that was actually kind of fun too, and the match itself was actually a very good match too. So this is going to pretty much bring me to the to my final area that I'm going to talk about, which is the John Cena and Rock. They had a quote unquote Q&A with the the future, not future, but the upcoming Hall of Fame class with two of them and current Hall of Famers. So you had Mick Foley, Dusty Rhodes, you had Booker T, you had Bret Hart in there, and it was basically just them asking questions. And that's not really the fun and entertaining point about it. That was actually kind of meh about it. But the answers that John Cena and Rock were giving, they were actually. They were doing really good. You can definitely get that feel that both of them really want to win the match, that they must have this match, that they don't want to fail in this particular main event for WrestleMania and the WWE title being on the line type deal. You get that entitled sense there that both of them really want to win the match. The promos that they were throwing out there were really good, to the point. Reasons why they have to win this match. Reasons why they Sorry, I'm kind of losing a train of thought here. Just reasons why they have to win the match. Cena talking about his failure from the year before, saying that Rock never had failure type deal, but then Rock retorts with his failures in there. And just the entire promo, I felt, came off really good. And then, of course, with them ending the show, you can't just have them talking and then just walk away. It was a good, nice little touch to have Rock get the advantage this week by putting the rock bottom onto John Cena. So, all in all, I did not feel like this week's Raw was really any good. A lot of the areas of WrestleMania just felt like they were cut and paste from the week before, or weeks prior. But you did get a couple really good segments and furthering of some of the storylines with like Undertaker and CM Punk, Rock and John Cena. You got the main events, developing a little bit more. So hopefully, you have one more Raw before WrestleMania. Hopefully they'll be able to put some extra build into the other matches going into WrestleMania, the other undercard. Hopefully we'll see something good again with Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio going in there. I still think that's the best feud that they've got going into WrestleMania right now. The Fandango match being made with Chris Jericho. Honestly, I still don't believe Fandango needs to be in this match in any way, shape, or form, or even really deserves it. But at least at this point, they're coming up with different reasons for him not to have his debut match yet, which will obviously be at WrestleMania now. So at least they're coming up with different reasons other than the announcer is not pronouncing his name right, or people are not pronouncing his name right type deal. And he's actually showing some physicality in there. So hopefully, hopefully his match with Jericho will be really good, but I really don't think he deserves being in that type of match at this point in time. So all in all, again, I said this week's Raw wasn't all that great. But, they got one more week. You still got two more SmackDowns and one more Raw before going into WrestleMania. Hopefully we'll get something a little bit better next week. And I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.